America's homelessness problem is at an all-time high.
Inflation, while shrinking, has done significant damage to family finances. Rent's going up at the fastest rate since the 1980s, putting a house or apartment out of reach for a lot of us.
The crisis means more people do not know where they're going to sleep. Let's go on the record.
From WPBF 25, this is On the Record with Todd McDermott and Nathalie Pozo.
And good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nathalie Pozo.
I'm Todd McDermott. Joining us now is Annie Noble, Chief Advancement Officer of the Lord's Place, West Palm Beach. Annie, thanks so much for being here. Tell us about the Lord's Place mission. We're very aware of what you do, but more about your mission and who you're now serving, who make up the homeless.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. At the Lord's Place, our mission is to break the cycle of homelessness here in Palm Beach County. We serve men, women, children, close to 1,900 people a year. You know, the number one way to end homelessness is with housing, and so we do have about 275 people a night in our housing every single night, more than 400 a year. But the people we're serving, they're just like you and me. You know, we find that people fall on hard times and end up at the Lord's Place, and really we become their safety net. They're in case of emergency. And so the people that we're seeing are really just the you and me of the world, but we're really seeing an increase in the number of people that we serve. You know, in the last year in Palm Beach County, there's been a 32% increase of homelessness. We really see a lot of elderly coming our way. People who are out on the street becoming homeless for the first time, elderly, and they become so much sicker so much quicker because they do not have access to the resources that you and I have. We also see a large increase of people between the age of 19 and 35, you know, getting out of high school or college and not being able to make enough money or be able to make rent. There's some people out there having to work 3 jobs in order to afford rent here in Palm Beach County.
And Annie, we're talking about housing having an impact on this, rent being so high, inflation, I mean, just the price of groceries and gas.
It's amazing. I mean, 44% of families here in Palm Beach County are insecure in their everyday needs. They're having to choose between childcare or transportation or food. You know, people should never be in that situation, and that's what they're finding.
Talk about some of the maybe misconceptions regarding the homeless and that stigma that's attached to it that we really need to break through.
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, we see a lot of people out on the street, you know, driving to and from work. We actually have an outreach and engagement team. We have 15 individuals who are out on the street, engaging those who are chronically homeless, who have been out on the street for 12 months or more. This team is the most amazing team, and they continue to engage and help and build trust and rapport. And so the people that they're engaging with really are those who've been out on the street for a long time and are very, very sick. And so it's really our job to be able to help them and bring them in. Now, you know about our new facility on Australian, right?
Tell us about it.
Yes. So 4 months ago, we opened a 25,000 square foot day center, the Fortin Family Campus. And I'll tell you, it is absolutely amazing. We're able to have breakfast and lunch for over 200 people a day, plus all of our programs and services. So that outreach and engagement team, once they engage, they can bring people into the center, but then there's people just walking through our doors all day long too.
And Annie, you know, we've talked with other organizations as well, food banks, for example, who tell us that they are at the greatest need that they have seen in such a long time. That correlates with the numbers that you're giving us for homelessness.
It really does. When we were in our old building 3 years ago, and of course we continue to serve all through the pandemic and through our construction, we are seeing double what we were when we were feeding people 3 years ago in our old building. We're seeing double that amount of people come through our doors for breakfast and lunch every day. Not what we expected.
How long have you been with the Lord's Place?
I've been here for 7 years.
So I'm asking, this is probably a difficult question, but in seeing what you see and seeing the increase, do you have some opinions on maybe some of the more permanent solutions to homelessness in our communities?
Absolutely. The number one way that we can end homelessness is to provide housing. Without housing, people are going to remain homeless. And we have those wraparound services. We call it the Lord's Place Hug, right? Where we're able to bring people in and provide them everything they need, but that's what keeps them housed. But without us having housing, and we're doing our part, right? But there needs to be affordable housing. We have so many people under our care right now who are ready to fly, still connect to our services, but they're ready to go out and have their own apartment or house, and they're not able to find something that's affordable for their fixed income.
So what is the solution here? What can people do? How can people get involved and help?
Well, certainly find that agency that's near and dear to your heart. You know, financial contributions go a long way in us being able, and in other agencies being able to help end the cycle of homelessness. Get involved, volunteer, and really realize that these people out on the street are somebody's mother, brother, sister, friend. They all have voices and faces and stories to tell, and they're just like you and me, and they need help.
Annie Noble with the Lord's Place, thanks so much for being here with
Thank
us
you.
this morning.
We appreciate you and the work you and your organization do.
Thank you for bringing awareness to it. We appreciate it.
Thanks again, Annie. Next, we're going to continue this discussion. What else is being done to help the homeless, and the new pilot program launched right here this month.
That's next when we go on the record.
You're watching On the Record on WPBF 25.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Rafael Clemente, Executive Director of the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority. Rafael, thanks so much for being here. So the DDA recently launched a new program. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, we started investing more money into policing and support services in the downtown district of West Palm Beach to help increase police presence on the street. And in a more community-oriented way. More presence on the street, more visibility, putting them out in the downtown, more accessible to the businesses and the residents.
Addressing mental health issues as well.
In part, yes, to help address perception issues and safety issues that are associated with an increase in homelessness.
So are these officers trained specifically to deal with the homeless population before they go out as part of this project?
Some of West Palm Beach's police department, police officers, staff are trained, and I do know that they are those individuals are part of the deployment in the downtown.
And what were you hearing from business owners, employees, neighbors there? Did you hear concerns from them about this? Is this part of the response to that?
Well, it's part of a response to what is an increase across the country, including here in South Florida, in the number of people who find themselves on the street. There is a strong correlation between affordable housing, lack of affordable housing, and homelessness. And also Florida ranks, I think, 49th in the nation for access to mental health care. So here in South Florida, as we all know, I mean, the rising rents, rising home costs, and our state's lack of services have really created a perfect storm almost. So in our area, we are trying to do the best we can to put resources in place to at least deal with the challenges, and whether people are homeless or not, if they're breaking the law, our goal is to make sure that gets addressed.
Rafael, there's kind of this proactive approach that the city is taking when it comes to homelessness, making sure that people know about the services and programs available to them. Can you talk to us about that?
I can, and I'll start from the top down. West Palm Beach, the city's leadership, has been maybe the most proactive in the region in working on this program, and that starts with the mayor's leadership on affordable housing. Mayor Keith James has directed his staff to create policies and fund and to put funding in place to incentivize affordable housing, which hits at the root of the problem. That's getting at the cause of the problem. Not many cities are able to do that. Certainly not. I think West Palm Beach has something like 600 affordable housing units either in place or coming out of the ground. So that's a very big step forward. In addition to that, the city has on staff dedicated mental health, dedicated homeless outreach staff, some of them who have lived experience. So they're on the streets working hand in hand with the population in need and directing them to services. In addition to that, West Palm Beach Police Department has staff that are trained and dedicated to that purpose. And we're doing our best collectively, the city, the Downtown Development Authority, and frankly the private sector, to take on this challenge in the most compassionate and effective way.
Raphael, would you say that there is progress being made, but still a lot of work to be done? We heard from our previous guests that they have people that are ready, to transition into housing, to, they're on their feet, but they just don't have anywhere to go because they can't afford it.
Progress is being made, but it's a very complex issue. There are people that are they're in transition, as you said. They're not permanent. They're not chronically homeless, but they are on the street, and that's, I don't want to say it's an easy fix, but those individuals, if you can get them the resources they need, they'll usually take that opportunity. Unfortunately, folks who are suffering from mental health issues, oftentimes that takes a lot more work, a lot more contact, a lot more resource-intensive approach to encouraging those folks to get off the street.
Let's talk about going forward then. There are some challenges here in getting that housing to them because, A, you need land, you need public and private sector money to do this, and you need builders who want to take part in it. There's a lot of red tape. There are a lot of challenges to get there. Does it take a fundamental shift in thinking with both the private and public sector and more money to really make the impact we need to see as far as finding housing?
It does, and I'll say I'm way down the list of people who are going to be able to make those decisions.
You can say whatever you want here, Raphael. This is your forum.
That's right. But in my opinion, from where I sit and how I view this challenge in my job at the Downtown Development Authority, this is a federal and state level policy issue, and it's what resources can be brought to bear to prevent people from ever winding up on the street or ever winding up in a mental health crisis where they end up in a situation where it's outreach staff or unfortunately police officers dealing with them in a situation where they should have never gotten to in the first place. So yes, I think it is a fundamental shift in thinking about what gets funded and why in policies toward providing affordable housing, even for those who have no resources to pay for it. There's a whole lot of data that says the housing first model in housing people that are homeless is the most effective way of dealing with it. We won't police our way out of it. We won't hospitalize our way out of it. This has to be a systemic approach that comes down from the top.
You can't just make the problem disappear by rounding people up. It has to be, as you said, from all sectors to make this actually work in the long run.
It is. It has to be an all hands on deck approach, and policy is the first step. I will say that, working very closely with the community that I serve in downtown West Palm Beach, it's very, very difficult to tell people, we can't make this problem go away. We can't. Whether you're homeless or not, you have rights. People have rights just like anyone else, and those rights can't be violated. So we have to approach this in the most compassionate way, only in the legal way, and use whatever steps can be taken within the limits of the law. That's a difficult approach because it's a very slow, cautious measure approach.
All right. Well, Raphael Clemente, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Well, coming up here next on The Record, the local group taking to the streets to share food each and every week.
Welcome back to On the Record. Joining us now, Nick Kubides, who's an advocate for the homeless population. The organization is Food Not Bombs West Palm Beach. Nick, thanks for being here. First, tell us what your mission is.
Yeah, thank you for having me and asking these important questions. Our mission is really to express solidarity with oppressed people across the globe. There's over 1,000 Food Not Bombs chapters throughout the world. Each one operates independently. We're an anarchist collectivist group, so whatever fits the needs of the people in that area is what we do. Out here in West Palm, we were founded about 16 years ago to help with the homeless population, many of whom live in downtown and just left out there, left out there in the cold without resources if somebody else doesn't step up.
When you say anarchists, though, people are worried.
It's a scary word.
Yeah.
It's a scary word. So an anarchist collective is pretty simple. We don't have any structure. There's no structure to any of the groups across the world. That means that not only is everybody sort of in charge, we get to share the workload, we practice consensus-based decision-making, so we're always sort of acting in line with each other. And ultimately, it provides a structure so people can sort of come and go, because it's, not everybody can do everything all the time. So helps people from different walks of life come in and come out, and it's how we practice equity.
Nick, I want to talk about this ordinance that was passed in the city of West Palm Beach back in March. So you now need a permit if you're going to be feeding more than 25 people at a time. That permit also costs $50. How has that impacted what your organization does?
Yeah, well, at first we looked at getting this permit because it's something that it shouldn't be a huge deal to do this. The big problem is they limit you to one permit per year, per group, per park. So we could have a maximum of 2 permits and be in 2 different places, but for 16 years, every single week, except 2 times because of hurricanes, we've shown up for these people where they're at. So this ordinance is trying to restrict our rights, our freedom of speech, by saying not only can you not do this anymore on a weekly basis and you can't fulfill your mission, but also if you did, you could only do it 2 times. It doesn't make sense.
And you've actually been arrested under terms of this ordinance, right? More than once?
Yeah, I got 2 paper arrests. The cops were really clear. They said, hey, as long as you show up, we'll show up. So we're just taking this to the top. We have some excellent legal representation. Shout out Daniel Lewin and the Southern Legal Counsel, who led the charge against the last lawsuit the city lost similarly, as well as the Fort Lauderdale ban on food sharing. So, we feel really confident that we can keep showing up.
So the pushback is legal now from this point on?
I mean, there's like a minor amount of police harassment. Sometimes they just stand there while we're sharing, and that helps people move along. And that the point is it's not just a food share. We're there for solidarity. We talk to people. We ask what their needs are. We see where we can help fill a gap in their life that the city and other nonprofits and NGOs aren't.
Has Food Not Bombs tried to partner with the city or work with the city to, kind of keep your mission alive, but also be in compliance with this ordinance, which we should mention comes with fines and also jail time, which is, you're talking about your arrests there.
Yeah, cumulatively, I'm and a couple other people in our group are facing $1,000 in fine each, plus 120 days in jail, which would really mess up my life. But no, we haven't really tried to work with the city because there's not a way to do that. If they had left a path open, if they had said something like, there's a special permit that you could get because you guys have been doing this for more years than there have been, mayors in this recent time period. So they don't have that exemption. When we have spoken to the city administrator, he's given personal attacks, called me names, let me know that he knows what kind of car I drive. Weird stuff. We don't appreciate it, and we don't see how we can really work with those
Nick,
people.
what's the solution here?
Well, there's kind of 2 solutions. The first one is the city needs to drop this ordinance, which is going to be found to be unconstitutional shortly. We are a political group. We use sharing food for, the group started in 1979 in Boston, and, it's a protest group, and we use sharing food as a form of expressive conduct under our First Amendment rights. So we're going to push this into the legal zone, and then we're going to push back against the city to strengthen our group and win some resources from them that make sure we never go away. But the city needs to drop this ordinance right away so we can just continue what we were doing without ever having a problem in over 15 years.
Nick Ubides from Food Not Bombs. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
On the record, we'll be right back.
Thank you so much for making us part of your morning. As always, we encourage you to be part of our discussion each and every Sunday right here at 10 a.m.
Until then, you can watch This Morning's On the Record and every episode on our website, WPBF.com, and on our free WPBF 25 News app. Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien is next.
We'll see you back here next Sunday.